If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
Yeah, this Phoenix race was pretty anticlimactic. Like out of all the Gen 7 races so far this year, this one was easily the worst of the four. Like, this race was pretty boring and mediocre at best. Like, it was very anticlimactic other than the magnitude at the end of the race between three drivers battling for their first career win. But that was, like, pretty much the only highlight of this race. Like, it was a pretty boring race. Like, I almost fell asleep at one point in this race. Like, it was getting pretty boring. Even when Chase Elliott was leading the race, it was boring and I was about to fall asleep. But, man, just... yeah, you know, like, hey, not every race is going to be a must-see TV. You're going to have a bunch of races that are complete duds. It happens. But, yeah, before we talk about what happened there, let's talk about the other races that happened this weekend. So, of course, you had the ARCA West/ARCA race at Phoenix earlier in the weekend on Friday night. From day to night, because this was a joint race with ARCA's second race of the season, and it was also the first season opener for the ARCA West series. So yeah, now throughout the first half of this race for ARCA, it was completely dominated by Sammy Smith. Like, Sammy Smith dominated the entire first half of the race, but the second half of the race, I don't know what the hell happened to that 18 team. But that 18 team, they've completely missed the setup on the nighttime part of the race. Like, to be perfectly honest to God's truth, I think that 18 team failed to keep up with the day-to-night transition cycle. Because the car was great in the daytime, but once it went to night, that car completely went to shit. Yeah, and then when it went to night cycle, Daniel Dye's car came to life, and he dominated much of the second half of the race until we got a few late race cautions. And then in the final 20 laps on the second lap, we had Taylor Gray come through, and he would get the lead late in the race at ahead of Daniel Dye. And of course, Taylor Gray racing with heavy hearts this week. We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, despite a few late race cautions, and then Todd Sosa getting mad at someone for no reason, being a talentless hack, because that's so ARCA. Because most of the people in ARCA can't fucking drive. And any of the few that do drive, they end up out of the series in 2 to 3 years to move up to the next tier. But through all of that, Taylor Gray was able to hang on and race it with heavy hearts in the spirit of Steven Stotts, his old hauler driver. Taylor Gray gets a very emotional win at Phoenix. So yeah, Taylor Gray gets the win for David Gillen Racing. And, you know, this team needed that win. You know, after everything they've been through, you know, with the hauler crash earlier this week, as I'm showing the tweet on the screen, you know, with the loss of Steven Stouts, like, that is just a terrible fucking picture to put on the screen. Like that picture is that's just a sad image there. Because, yeah, just, you know, I always support the truckers. You know, I always stand with the truckers. You know, coming from a trucker family, when my dad was a trucker growing up, you know, pretty much growing up in the business. So yeah, and the truckers, it's a tight brotherhood. You know, everybody supports each other in that business, man. Just, you know, it's heartbreaking whenever a trucker passes away, man. Just, you know, it's just a terrible tragedy there. And yeah, and the car Taylor Gray won, that wasn't even the primary car, because the primary car that Gray was originally supposed to run at Phoenix, it was completely destroyed in that crash, because the hauler driver, Steven Stoltz, who passed away, he was on his way to the track for the ARCA West race. And I believe it was mentioned that the steering column in the truck broke, which caused that entire accident, and then it burst into flames. Yeah, so Stouts died instantly, which is a sad sight. And then the two passengers that were with him, they were taken to the hospital with injuries but in stable condition. And then the other truck that was involved in the crash, and the other passengers and drivers, they were taken to hospital in stable condition. And I believe then the 2 passengers from Stout's truck, they are released from the hospital, recovering well. So I wish them a speedy recovery. But yeah, thoughts and prayers, to Steven Stout's family and friends. I know it was great to see everybody come in from in the ARCA community and the racing community, chip in and help him out during this tough time. Hell, Taylor Deegan's hauler was the one that transported Taylor Gray's new backup car to Phoenix, because the car he had was scrapped. Taylor Gray had, it was a backup car they had to scrap together at the last second. And Gray was able to win in that thing. So yeah, Taylor Gray also did a great tribute pointing to the sky. Steven Stouts was definitely with Taylor Gray tonight and helped lead him to that victory. So yeah, that's a great sight to see. So yeah, congrats to Taylor Gray getting that win. They badly needed that win after everything they've been through. So yeah, great moment for them. And a great moment for that young kid to battle adversity like that. That's going to come a long way. But anyway, with that said, let's try and get more positive here. So now we go to the Xfinity race. So yeah, the Xfinity race, it was a race mainly dominated by Gragson. Just like Noah Gragson was like the class of the field all day. Like, Gragson pretty much was the dominant car for much of this race. He was the class of the field. Yeah, and Gragson, he was able to hold off everyone late in the race. He was pulling away. And Noah Gragson, 3 races this year, he's finished 3rd, 2nd, and 2nd. He arguably had the car to beat at Las Vegas until Ty Gibbs stole the win right out from under him after Ryan Sieg failed to put the stake in Dracula's heart. But this week, Noah Gragson would not be denied. And Noah Gragson finally gets his first win of the season. The 4th time was the charm. So yeah, Noah Gragson continues his hot start to the season with now 4 consecutive top 3 finishes. Holy shit. That is a really damn good start for the season for Noah Gragson. So yeah, so far it's looking like Gragson's the favorite for the championship this year. The question is, can Gragson keep that momentum going? Or is he going to crash down to earth? I think Noah Gragson is finally starting to come into his own. Kind of like how when Austin Cindric came into his own and then dominated the series. I think that's happened with Noah Gragson. Hey, some drivers take a longer time to develop and hit their stride than others. Sometimes some drivers get it instantly. Sometimes you may need a couple years to get the right pieces in place for it to happen. But in the meantime, Gragson will now officially lock himself into the chase. But yeah, like I said last week, I think the championship is going to be between Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson this year. Unless Daniel Hemrick bullshits his way to back-to-back championships like he did last year. That's probably what's going to happen. It's going to be between Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs. And then at Phoenix, Hemrick's going to bullshit his way to the championship again in November. That's probably what's going to happen. We all know how this ends. But yeah. And now we get to the Cup race. So yeah, this Cup race was pretty boring. It was a pretty boring race. Throughout much of this race was mainly the first 2 stages. It was mainly dominated by Ryan Blaney. Even with Blaney getting that speeding penalty early in the race, he was still the fastest car. He was easily the car to beat the first 2 stages. And then in stage 3, Blaney's pit crew decided to shit the bed royally. And then the second half of the race, it became the battle of the chases, Chase Elliott and Chase Briscoe. Where Chase Elliott, he would initially take advantage of Blaney's pit crew collapse. Let me just put this in perspective for Ryan Blaney here. With Blaney not winning this race, with this collapse, Blaney is now 0-9 when he leads 100+ laps in a race. Blaney cannot get it done when he has a fast car. The only time Blaney could ever win is if it's on a late race restart and he happens to be in the right place at the right time and gets that exciting pass for the win. Or if it's a super speedway. Blaney just can't seem to get it done with a fast car when it matters the most. When he has a dominant car, he just can't get it done. Like, what does Blaney have to do? I don't fucking know, man. And then with around 90 to go, after another caution for Mark Truex Jr. blowing a tire, which that was a nasty hit. Truex took it to the wall. We then get to the restart with around 80-something to go, when Chase Elliott would not have a good restart, and then Chase Briscoe would take advantage and get the lead. And then Briscoe, he was able to hold his own very well until 27 to go. We get the turning point in the race when Eric Jones would spin out and hit the wall. And then the leaders come to pit lane. Briscoe holds tight, and then Chase Elliott's pit crew then falls apart after Chase Elliott fell apart. Now I know the last couple years, a lot of Elliott fans have blamed Alan Gustafson for Chase's demise. Let me be real about Phoenix right here. This collapse from Chase Elliott, this is 100% on Chase Elliott. This is 100%, this route loss was 100% Chase Elliott's fault. Because the pit crew, they did everything in their power to put Chase Elliott in the right positions to get the job done. And then that final restart, Chase Elliott completely blew it against Briscoe. Like, Chase Elliott flat out choked. This loss was 100% on Chase. And Chase Elliott is the reason alone why HMS did not sweep the West Coast Swing. So yeah, for the 7th year in a row, no driver or organization has swept the West Coast Swing. That streak remains alive and well. HMS almost pulled it off. But yeah, and then once Chase Elliott fell apart, all of HMS fell apart, because then Kyle Larson broke his valve spring and had to retire from the race. And then Byron and Bowman failed to keep up with the changing track conditions, and both of them fell apart. And then with 8 to go, Chase Elliott steals the collapse by spinning out with 8 to go. How could we have predicted that Chase Elliott's collapse was going to end like that? But here's the thing though, Elliott fans. You can't blame Kyle Larson for that spin this time. That's 100% on Chase. Chase Elliott choked. He blew it. Chase had the race in the bag. Chase Elliott, that is. He had the race in the bag. And he blew it. So yeah, Chase Elliott had his best race of the year, but the result will not show for it. Oof. So yeah, the 9 team really needs to get their heads out of their asses. And the 9 team just needs to stop worrying about Kyle Larson and just need to focus on their job. They just need to do their job. Like that 9 team, they need to figure something out to get something together. I mean, the good news is Elliott did have the speed along with Larson for much of this race, so that is pretty promising for for Phoenix in November if both of them are battling for the championship in the fall. If both of them make it there. So we'll have to see. But yeah, Chase Elliott's slow start to the season continues. Will Chase figure it out? Probably by mid-season. Because I think Chase Elliott's struggling with this new car, but I think Chase Elliott's going to struggle with this new car for the first half of the year. But because I have Chase Elliott winning 3 races this year, but I don't have Chase winning until the second half of the season. I feel like Chase is going to struggle with the car the first half of the year, but by the second half of the year, he'll figure it out and start getting his head out of his ass and start making a comeback. I feel like that's what's going to happen with Chase Elliott. I feel like he's going to struggle the first half of the year, but by the second half of the year, the team will have it figured out. You know, kind of like how Kyle Larson's team is already figuring it out. Just bad luck for Larson today with that valve spring. Because Larson had a really good run going after having to start the rear. And yeah, that's just bad luck. So yeah, back to the drawing board at the R&D shop. But yeah, better luck next week. So yeah, in the end, it ended up being a 3-lap shootout between Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, and Ross Chastain. So one of those 3 was guaranteed to get their first career win and become the 200th different winner in the Cup Series. In the end, the racing gods can only pick one to win this race. Only one of them could get that win. So yeah, who would the racing gods smile upon? In the end, it would be Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe finally gets his first career win and wins at Phoenix. So Chase Briscoe is officially a winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. And Briscoe finally gets that long overdue first career win. He's now a 200 different winner in the Cup Series in the Cup Series 74-year history. So yeah, that's a pretty big milestone for Chase Briscoe. You know, the first win's always special. So yeah, congratulations to Chase Briscoe on the win. And Chase Briscoe, of course, gets to live the childhood dream, you know, because Briscoe, being from Indiana, grew up as a lifelong Tony Stewart fan, and he gets to win for Tony Stewart's team at Stewart-Haas. In Tony Stewart's old car in the 14. And in a similar paint scheme that Tony Stewart won his last championship in back in 2011. So yeah, congratulations to Chase Briscoe on that win. Well deserved by Briscoe. Briscoe had a really good car the second half of the race and taking advantage of Chase Elliott's collapse. So yeah, congratulations to Briscoe on that win. And with Chase Briscoe winning, Chase Briscoe officially becomes the first Stewart-Haas driver to lock himself into the chase this year. Okay, I admit, that was kind of a dumbass decision to pick only one first-time winner this year. Honest to God's truth, I didn't think we were going to have that many first-time winners because of the new car. And I feel like a lot of the younger drivers were going to struggle with it, and I felt like the veteran drivers were going to take advantage of it because, you know, a lot of uncertainty with the car. So I felt like taking only one first-time winner, that was playing it safe. But I guess I played it too safe. Well, I mean, I still have 15 different winners in Cup this year, so there's a possibility I can still get that one right. But yeah. So now we've had 2 first-time winners this year in the first 4 races. Damn. But yeah, hats off to Chastain. Chastain almost pulled it off. Same deal with Reddick, but in the end, only one could get their first career win. Unfortunately today, it was not Chastain or Reddick's day. It was Briscoe's day. Don't worry, Chastain and Reddick. Your days will truly come. Your moment will come. Just not today. You know? Just take this as a learning experience, you know? But yeah. And here's the crazy thing. Briscoe got a win this year before old man Kevin Harvick. And there's now a good chance that Chase Briscoe could now be the number 1 driver at SHR over Harvick. Because we all know that SHR is fixing to have Chase Briscoe be the number 1 driver at the team when Harvick is done and hangs it up. Because you look at Almirola is going to be gone at the end of the year. Harvick's probably going to be gone after 2023. And Cole Custer is a complete fucking bust. And who knows how well Ryan Preece does in that car if Preece gets the 10 car next year. And for the love of God, if Terrible Herps is in the 4 car in 2024, God help us all, because Terrible Herps is fucking garbage. Honestly, Haley Deegan would be better off in the 4 than Terrible Herps. Or whoever the fuck they can look out, get. Maybe they go make a run at Tyler Reddick when Reddick's contract is up at a RCR. We'll have to see. But yeah, congratulations to Chase Briscoe. You know, this is going to be more than likely the first of many wins to come for Briscoe. But yeah, today Briscoe accomplishes a childhood dream of winning a race with his boyhood heroes team in Tony Stewart. So yeah, congrats to Briscoe there. So yeah, Briscoe's officially locked into the chase. So yeah, 2 first-time winners, man. But yeah, that's about the only highlight here. And of course, next week it's going to be the big test. We're going to be going to the new Atlanta Motor Speedway, the track that is now expected to be a mini Daytona, with the new banking, the new pavement. And here's how we know it's going to be a super speedway race. Not only with the package they're running, but because NASCAR is enforcing the fucking yellow line rule for Atlanta. when the track is significantly smaller than Atlanta, than Daytona and Talladega. Why? Because, yeah, big crashes equal excitement. I have a better idea to solve this problem. How about no yellow line rule? How about you let the drivers self-police and just scrap the yellow line rule altogether? Because with this rule, I feel like we're going to have a yellow line controversy in Atlanta next week. I feel like we're going to have a yellow line controversy and it's going to divide the fucking fan base in half. Because we usually know how these yellow line situations end out. But yeah, scrap the yellow line rule. Because that rule just causes more controversy and confusion. Like, you know where I stand with that rule. I fucking hate that rule. Get rid of it. That rule would solve a lot of that rule would eliminate a lot of NASCAR's problems. But NASCAR won't fucking get rid of the rule, though. Because NASCAR doesn't fucking change anything until someone dies or gets severely injured. Because that's the NASCAR way. But yeah, enough negativity there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Will Atlanta be like a mini Daytona or Talladega? Or will it be the same old Atlanta we had before? I mean, with the banking, they should stay full throttle. And it should be somewhat draft pack racing. Whether it ends up being exactly like Daytona or Talladega, that's yet to be seen. We'll find out next Sunday. Of course, though, for anyone that isn't interested in that, I believe the ARCA East race, ARCA East is back next week at Pensacola at 5 Flags, where the Snowball Derby is. So we have that to look forward to. I think IndyCar might be back next week at Barber. I'll have to double check the schedule. So yeah, at least we got that too. And also the F1 season opener in Bahrain. Yes, F1 is finally back. So now motorsports is officially back in business. So yeah. And the West Coast swings over. So yeah. And also before we end this off, Haas is officially announcing their second driver to replace Nikita Mazepin. And wait a minute. Why the hell do I hear boss music?
Guenther. Guenther is making business always after goes for pictures. You know I'm getting bitches, Ferrari is on my wish list. Guenther is back in business. K-Mac is just a little kid sketchy boy, but don't admit this. And Grosjean is just an idiot. Guenther is back in business, always after goes for pictures. You know I'm getting bitches, Ferrari is on my wish list. Guenther is back in business. K-Mac is just a little kid sketchy boy, but won't admit this. And Grosjean is just an idiot.